It's a warm good afternoon, and you are joining us through here in our studios in Ibex, where we are bringing you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And I'm your host, Amos, aka Amore, and welcome to Off the Pitch. And I'm not alone on set. I'm joined by Augustine. Augustine, welcome.
Thank you very much, Amos. First of all, we'd like to return all the glory to the Almighty God. We are here not by power, not by mighty, but by His grace. And thanks to the viewers out there who've tuned in. We hope to give them nothing but the best show. And unfortunately, the news that we've gotten in the morning is that NAPSA Stars were earlier communicated that they will be allocated 4,500 fans that will be allowed to go into the stadium. But the news that has just come through is that the Ministry of Sports have rejected that, and we still maintain the 200 fans that will be at the National Hero Stadium tomorrow.
Will that give a boost to NAPSA?
I think, to me, it's kind of, I think it would have been better if we would have had the 4,000 fans so that to back the team from start to finish. But unfortunately, with this pandemic that we are living in, it's the new normal. We just urge the fans out there to mask up and maintain the social distance and follow the health guidelines so that we get back to the stadium as soon as possible.
And our apology to Angorapson, as always. These times whereby he has to go and cover something, so we've sent him on duty today. He's covering one of the games that is being played. That's a double header which is being held at Nkoloma Stadium. And Augustine will join them after he leaves the set. Augustine, let's put the ball rolling. Let's look at the games that we have played. We'll start with the same Confederation Cup games, where we saw our two teams that are representing us giving us a positive result.
I think it was very much interesting. We talked about Nkana hosting TAS Casablanca at the Nkana Stadium. It was always going to be an affair where Nkana had to travel to North Africa with an advantage. They just had to go there with an advantage. It would have been bad if we would have gone there with a draw or something, but a positive result for Nkana with Fred Shimenga putting the Busakile side in front, and a beautiful goal, I must say, from Obet Masumbuko to add the second, which has probably given Nkana the hope to be at least one step closer into the group stages. And if you look at the pedigree of Nkana compared to TAS Casablanca, probably Nkana were always the favorites in this encounter to go through. And it was very much interesting that they took advantage of their home advantage. Nkana haven't lost at home since 1960-something. They have always been posting positive results at Chilata, and it showed against TAS Casablanca.
Like, was this a result that you expected? Because I remember from the last week show that we had, Angorapson was so certain to say we are going to beat TAS de Casablanca because they are playing in a very lower division at home. Yeah, if you look at TAS Casablanca, they're in the second tier of Moroccan football, and they are at the base of the league. They are the bottom side. They have played 9 games. They have lost, is it 5 and drawn 4? That's not a very good return for a team which is playing continental football and playing against the 13th time champions of Zambian football. You always expect Ghana to come up strong against a side like TAS Casablanca, and they did. They played some good football at home. You've seen the way Kevin Kaindu has been transforming this Ghana side. It just needs a couple of transfer windows, maybe 2 or 3, to try and revive Ghana as one of the top sides in Zambian football. You've seen the likes of Mwindi, the young striker they acquired from Bildikon. He's been doing wonders for them. Simon Mulenga looks a very, very different striker from the time he was at Lusaka Dynamos when he was deemed below surplus. And if you look at the likes of Aki Mumba, someone who was not seeing game time at Red Arrows, he's gone to Nkana and he's found a new home. He actually assisted the second goal for Obet Masumbuko. Masumbuko as well, we talked about him in the previous shows that this was a player who went to Nkana with very, very good form from Lumwana Radiance, and we always expected him to step up from
the football that he was playing at Lumwana Regions and to try and continue at Ghana, but we saw his form dip when he went at Ghana. Maybe it was due to the pressure, different pressure from the Lumwana Region side, which is maybe mid-table and fighting relegation, to Ghana side, which is expected to win the title and qualify for continental football. So the pressure was different. After the departure of Idris Mbombo, we would have thought, what will happen to this Ghana side? Who is going to be scoring the goals? But you can see now, Kaindo has gone there. He's made them more of a unit now. They're playing together in Ghana. And at the back, that's where there was too many problems at Ghana when they signed Zingai from Power Dynamos. He never looked like the player he was at Power Dynamos. Always had a mistake in him. You could see Richard Dokran, same thing. But the acquisition of Moyo and Chimwemwe have at least stabilized that kind of defense, with Mishek Chaila sitting just right in front of that back four. It has made them look solid, and we always expected them to beat TAS Casablanca at Ghana Stadium to take an advantage into Morocco.
And I think before we talk more into how NAPSA performed against Goma here and the way forward in terms of the games that are being played tomorrow in terms of CAF, we'll just take a very short break and we'll catch you on the other side.
Hello, have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact +260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Msika, allowing your business to grow.
So, Augustine, before I called for a break, and for those who are just joining us, you can also watch us live. That's on Facebook. Just follow our Facebook page, Camnet, and you'll be able to watch us live from there. And like always, we've got a question that we're asking today. You can call in to give us an answer towards that question. And the question is, do you think Ghana and NAPSA are both going to make it in the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup? And I know Augustine will be able to highlight more in terms of this. But Augustine, let's look at a critical encounter that NAPSA had against Goma here, a result that most of us never expected. And we saw NAPSA getting the goal through Daniel Adoko. That was in the 86th minute. To give Ghana the win, the lead.
It was always going to be a tricky encounter traveling to Kenya to face Goma here, the powerhouses of Kenyan football. And build up to the game, there were a lot of stories that came out. Goma here didn't train for a couple of days leading up to the encounter against NAPSA Stars. NAPSA Stars arrived there very, very early on time. I think the advance party did their homework. It was very, very good planning by NAPSA Stars. And you would hear from Muhammad Fati's press conference. He talked about NAPSA Stars being in the game, trying to not allow Goma here dictate play and have clear-cut chances. And they did just that. NAPSA Stars, they stayed into the game and they were just hoping to hit Goma here on the break. And every time when you go and play away in continental football, you have to take advantage of the one opportunity you have, take advantage of set pieces and try and get an away goal. NAPSA Stars did just that through Daniel Adoko in the 86th minute. It was sort of a smash and grab for NAPSA Stars, and they have got now the advantage going into the second leg against Goma here. But knowing football, you just have to concentrate. Even in the second leg, hearing to the NAPSA Stars players, they are up for the fight, and NAPSA Stars haven't lost any game this far in continental football, which is very amazing for a debutant side in continental football. They have done so very well. Their management is always motivating the team, and you can see NAPSA Stars, I think they have got all that it takes to get into the group stages. They just need to avoid defeat against Goma here tomorrow at the National Hero Stadium, and they'll be through into the group stages. And talking about the results, it was always going to be Gor Mahia are always going to be the favorites. They have been campaigning in the continental football for a while. They have been winning the Kenyan Premier League for a while, and you always expected them to be too strong for NAPSA Stars. If I must say, they have got Kenyan internationals in their ranks, and with a Portuguese coach, it was always going to be difficult for NAPSA. But NAPSA Stars did their homework very, very well. Chintu Kampamba, Coach Muhammad Fati, Sipo Mumbi, part of that technical bench, they did their homework, and they knew when they go to East Africa, they won't dominate play. They won't have a lot of opportunities. They just need to be solid, be difficult to break down, and then try and hit Gor Mahia on the counter, which worked very well. They frustrated the home side up until now. You realize when you're playing away in continental football, when it's 75 minutes and the game is still scoreless, the home team will try and push a lot of men forward. Now NAPSA Stars found the spaces and exploited Gor Mahia and got the goal through Daniel Adoko, the Ghanaian.
Will this change a lot of things for, we saw this past week, I don't know if Mayuka is in the team because he was tested like he's fit now to play since the last game he played at Ngoloma Stadium where he had that injury. How is it a boost to NAPSA Stars to have Mayuka back?
It will be a very, very big boost for NAPSA Stars to have a player like Emmanuel Mayuka back. He's a 2012 AFCON winner. He's played the final of the CAF Champions League with Zamalek when they got beat by Mamelodi Sundowns 3-1 on aggregate. He brings experience to the team. He brings that calmness and a cool head. You need the player like Emmanuel Mayuka because you've seen he's rediscovering his form. He's getting goals for NAPSA Stars. They need that kind of player in these situations to try and guide the youngsters. They have got the likes of Jimmy Mukea who came through their youth ranks, a very, very explosive and promising youngster. They have got the likes of Dixon Chapa, a very, very good leader, cool, calm and collected. They'll need everyone to be. You don't need passengers in this encounter. You need everyone who is going to deliver. And Emmanuel Mayuka, you are guaranteed with goals. He will get an opportunity and he will score and use that chance. And sometimes you find that he would attract defenders. They'll try and close Emmanuel Mayuka and create space for others. So it's a very, very big boost for Muhammad Fati on this side.
Looking at these results, are we expecting NAPSA to have it the hard way? Them going in the second leg, playing at home with a goal advantage, which Gor Mahia as well will come so strong, which we don't know if Gor Mahia is in or not.
Yeah, from the news that we are getting is that we were expecting Gor Mahia to arrive here in Zambia at 1. They didn't do that. The news that we are getting is that they will come with a chartered flight from Kenya, which is scheduled maybe to arrive tomorrow, just around 6 in the morning. That's what we have gathered, that Gor Mahia may just arrive late on the match day. You can see now the problems that Gor Mahia are facing. They had travel problems when they went into North Africa when they were in the Champions League, when they went to play about something. Yeah, they went there and they had these challenges, Gor Mahia. And now it has repeated, the same thing has happened again. They're having challenges to travel here to come and fulfill the second leg fixture. And it's not good for the players. Players need to arrive 24 hours before the match so that they can relax, acclimatize, and get their muscles and their body in good shape ahead of the second leg. But having to arrive just hours before the kickoff is going to be very, very tough for the Gor Mahia players, I must say. And NAPSA Stars need to be very, very careful, because this might motivate Gor Mahia to say, let's try and prove to Africa that we can, even when things are tough, we can go through into the group stages. NAPSA Stars needs to concentrate. All NAPSA Stars needs to do is just shut the back door. Don't allow any goals and you're through into the group stages. They just need even any kind of draw. NAPSA Stars are through into the group stages of the continental football.
When we look at Ghana, we've heard news that the landlord didn't travel with the team, and he's been seeing less game time of late. Are we seeing the demise of one Kampamba, like Sate is Is this his end at Ghana?
Yeah, I think it might be time for Sate Kambamba at Ghana, because you can see he's out of favor. He's not seeing any game time. He struggled with form, to be honest. Whenever he plays, he's not the Sate we knew in 2016 when he was scoring goals for fun. I can see he's lost his scoring touch. He doesn't have the pace anymore. And it's not a big surprise for me, if I must be honest, to see him miss out on that Ghana team which travel to Morocco, because he hasn't been doing well recently. Even last season, Sate when Ghana won the title, he wasn't the same. He was struggling for goals, because Sate, the only thing he brings to the table is goals. If he cannot give you that, he cannot give you anything. He's not the kind of player who run the channel
or dribble.
Yeah, the player who work defenders. He doesn't do that. He's just good in the box, scores goals, but he's not doing that. So, meaning he cannot offer anything to the team. So, Kelvin kind of good move. He has got young Windy, who's been doing very, very well, and he may just play behind Simon Mulenga. It's pretty disappointing to see that our players do not last long like you would expect them to last. But Sate, he's played his part. He's won the Golden Boot, and I think it's high time he moved on to another different challenge, which is not at the level of Ghana, because at the level of Ghana, it's very, very demanding and challenging for him. And looking at his age and his form, they don't see eye to eye with Ghana. It's better that he moves on to another club.
Anyway, that's the happenings in terms of the CAF Confederation games. But before we leave this part to look at other things, like other games that took place within the course of the week, let's take a look at, we had the chance to have a brief interview with the NAPSA stars, who was addressing the media in terms of how they've prepared concerning the game that they are playing tomorrow. And we got this clip for you. Hope you enjoy it. Let's just look at this clip.
I'm sure you have your answer now. NAPSA stars is very strong. We are presenting Zambia. About Kenya, they have one team in Continental, only Gor Mahia. Comoros, they have two teams. So before you ask your question, you have to Google. When you have two teams in Continental, it means your league is stronger and your teams are doing well. This is why they give you two spots, not one. That time I don't want to argue with you too much about our capability as a Zambian, okay, to beat any team, home or away. About the league, there is 15 games to go. I would love you to go through the log and the table. There is 10 points between the bottom, us, and the top. So this is around 3 games, and we still have a lot of games to come, and we have a lot of injury already recovered. So we are coming to the league. People, they have to wait until we finish our job for the country tomorrow. Joy of the players and good leadership in the ground from the captain and good management behind us. This is how we succeed as a club. And if you look at NAPSA, a well-organized club, we have advanced party, we don't have a breakdown in any trip, despite the opponent sometimes they try to frustrate us. So this is how we succeed. We are well organized. So when we are well organized, people, they have to wait until we finish the job, then they can judge us. And as a players, also motivate the players, motivate the club, and we start from there. And here we are. After 2.5 years, we turn this team from survival relegation to competing team in continental level. And if it's good willing, when we reach group stage tomorrow, to be the first team in Africa to qualify to continental and the progress to group stage in the same year. And this is good record for Zambia. At least we did good for us and for our country. So we keep motivating each other and we keep focused and we are going ahead with our plan.
So that was Coach Mohamed Fati just giving an update in terms of how they've prepared concerning their game tomorrow, which is a tough one. They are facing Gor Mahia, that's in the return leg in the CAF Confederation Cup pre-group stages, where they are facing Gor Mahia. And we just wish the teams, both teams, that's NAPSA and Ghana, all the best. And like I said during the opening of the show, you can also call in to give your view in terms of are both teams going to make it in the group stages? That's NAPSA and Nkana. And Augustine, we had midweek games. We saw Zesco United squaring it off against Power Dynamos, which was the week 14 rescheduled game, where we saw Zesco United coming out victorious by beating Power Dynamos. That's 2-1. Your take on this one, because this is a very huge encounter.
It was an interesting encounter. Power Dynamos visiting Levi Mwanawasa Stadium to play Zesco United. Zesco United, knowing a win against Power Dynamos will send them top of the table, ahead of Zanaco with 2 points. And for Power Dynamos, there was that window for the Barclays Cup qualification. They knew a win would boost their chances to qualify for the APSA Cup for the 2021 edition. And it was always going to be an interesting encounter. Numba Mamba coming up with Perry Mutapa, young promising coaches in terms of Zambian football. These are the future of Zambian football. And on the day, they both got their tactics right, I must say, but eventually one had to win. It was Numba Mamba who had Enoch Sakala to thank, coming from a goal down. Power Dynamos took the lead through Luka Chamanga. They could have Power Dynamos had chances to extend their lead. They had a number of opportunities which they kept on missing, but Zesco United, they remained calm, patient build up, and young Chanda Mukuka playing a very good role at Zesco United. We always wondered what will happen to him coming into the Super League from the National League. It was always thought that it would be difficult for him, but you can see he's slowly adapting to the game at Zesco United. And Enoch Sakala, one enterprising young striker, I must say, is following the footsteps of his father, Enoch Sakala Senior, who was also at Zesco United, always scoring goals for the team, and he leveled matters for Zesco United. And later on, he extended the lead, and which proved to be the match winner. And Power Dynamos losing again when they take the lead. They lost to Lusaka Dynamos. They scored first through Spencer Sautu, and they drew against Quito United. They scored first as well. So Power Dynamos look like they're throwing away a lot of leads, and it's something which is very worrying for Power Dynamos and their technical bench. If you look at Power Dynamos, their undoing this season has been the scoring, but they do not score a lot of goals. Their top scorer has been their holding midfielder Benson Sakala. That speaks volumes. You find a defensive midfielder being the leading scorer at the club. That's very much worrying. They have scored 14 goals this season, and they have allowed 13. So in terms of conceding goals, they do not concede a lot of goals. Power Dynamos, the meanest defense in the Zambian league is Power Dynamos, Zesco United, and Nkwazi. They have all conceded 13 goals in the league. But the problem with Power Dynamos is that they cannot score goals. They create a lot of chances. Power Dynamos have always been known to be a team which plays beautiful passing football, but the problem is that they do not score enough goals. And you can see maybe they could have gone into the transfer market and try and acquire someone who will score them goals, because they have been struggling in that department. Power Dynamos, a lot of fans, Power Dynamos fans, thought that they would go for Adam Zikiru in the transfer market, but they did not. He eventually went to Lusaka Dynamos. The Power Dynamos executive, they are not that ambitious, I must say, because it's been the same thing season in, season out. You find Power Dynamos playing with David Daka up front. What does he bring to the team? Because David Daka cannot score goals. So what does he bring to the team that keeps him playing every week? If you're going to have strikers like David Daka, surely you cannot win anything as a team. Because David Daka, to be fair, he runs the channels, he works defenders, but he's just too wasteful in front of goal. David Daka, I've never seen David Daka score 10 plus goals in a season. And if you do not have a striker who cannot score 10 plus goals in a season, then you cannot win the league title. That's why Power Dynamos have been struggling. We saw at the back end of last season, when Perimeter took over at Power Dynamos, the fortune changed. They were being tipped to be one of the title favorites this season because they ended the season very, very strong. They were even knocking on the doors for continental football, but the league was cut short and then they missed out. This season we thought Power Dynamos are going to be aggressive in the transfer market. They started it well by acquiring the services of left back Zakaria Chilongoshi, but they did not do anything from that point going forward. They brought in Spencer Sautu from Green Eagles on loan. Now all they had to do was to find the central striker who will score them goals, and they did not do that. Areas department where Dynamos need to strengthen is the striking department. They need a striker who come with goals at Power Dynamos, and they need the centre back who will be very, very solid and organize that defense, because it's very, very shaky, the Power Dynamos defense. They give away lead so easily. And one thing I've noticed about the Power Dynamos is that they cannot find the right balance. In the games where they don't score, the games end 0-0. In the games that they score, whereby they try and attack teams and try and get goals, they end up conceding. So they do not find the right balance in terms of defense and attacking. If they can do that, they will be a force to reckon with, because this league hasn't run away from any team. It's there for the taking. Power Dynamos are 8 points behind leaders, which they can claw back those points and challenge for the title. But if they are not sorting their scoring problems, it will be a very, very long season for Perimeter and these boys. And looking at Numba Mumamba, question marks were asked when he was appointed as a Zesco United coach. Is it the right appointment? Will he take Zesco United to the next level? I think what we've seen with Numba is given chance to the youngsters. He's brought in young players into the Zesco United setup. Enoch Sakala, maybe under George Rwandamina, he wouldn't have seen a lot of game time. But with Numba Mamba, he's seen a lot of game time. The young Enoch Sakala, there's the young Luwawa, also who mostly comes from the bench. He's come through their youth system, and the newly acquired Chandamukuka under 20 international, a very young player. It's just United are going through a phase whereby they are rebuilding. As they are rebuilding, they also challenge for the title, because for a team like Zesco United, they do not have the time to start developing players and rebuilding, because they need results, they need titles. Those teams play for titles. So what they need to do is bring the youngsters who seem to be ready for the challenge and push them into the first team and challenge for the places, and that brings healthy competition into the team, and it helps them in match days. You can see Zesco United, they have got that fighting back mentality. They went behind against Beautycon, they eventually won the match. They went behind against Power Dynamos, eventually won the match. That shows you that this side has got the character to try and challenge for the title, and we just hope that Zesco United will continue this form and see them back into continental football.
Are we seeing the revamption of the old Zesco United that we used to know back then, or maybe it's just a game of luck?
I think they have been consistently inconsistent this season, even Zesco United. Games that they have lost, like Tunkwazi, to Young Green Eagles, those are not the games that you would expect Zesco United to lose. But they're just going through this transition period, which is very, very difficult for every team. But what's good about Zesco United, who are going through a transition period, same as maybe Red Arrows in the league, Zesco United are getting the results. So you can see these youngsters will grow. We've seen the young Chishimba at left back is growing into a player who, in 3-4 years' time, Zesco United will be strongly relying on them to try and get them into the group stage of continental football and challenge for the continental competitions. And slowly with time, we'll see Zesco United get back to the old Zesco United, because probably in 2-3 years ago, names that we would surely see on that Zesco team sheet would be David Odiambo, Jacob Banda, Kondwani Mutonga, and you can see they are not anywhere close to the starting 11. Odiambo has moved on to Napsa Stars due to lack of game time. So now Zesco United are trying to find a new way of playing with these youngsters and trying to challenge for honors at the same time.
Let's look at the big spenders. We've seen how LD is spending money, how they are splashing out money. We saw them having another bus that they branded as well in a different way. But looking at the results that they are giving, we saw them drawing against Young Green Eagles. Is this, I don't know, how would you describe this Lusaka Dynamo squad, which has been very inconsistent as well?
I think it's just the story of probably all the teams in the Super League. They cannot find that consistency. If you look at Lusaka Dynamos, they had that opportunity to beat Young Green Eagles and go closer to the top teams and challenge for the title, but they went and played to a goalless draw. They have drawn a lot of games, Lusaka Dynamos. If they can turn those draws into wins, Lusaka Dynamos will be a force to reckon with, because they have got 9 draws this season so far. And if you see the games that they have been drawing, these are games they dominate most of these games. They've dominated play but ended up missing a lot of chances. I think they just need to find the right formula, Lusaka Dynamo, which will keep them consistently getting these positive results, try and get wins, because they have spent a lot and everyone is looking at Lusaka Dynamo to try and see what would they do this season. The acquisition of Adam Zikir, that's big. The acquisition of Emmanuel Chabula, that's big. Calling Sikombe, Mini Cooper, that's very, very big. You look at these players, they come in with big reputation. They got Musa Muhammad from Nkana, a very, very good centre back. They got Otieno from Duncan Otieno from Nkana, who had moved to FC Leopard, very good holding midfielder. These are players probably match winners, and they are going to push this Lusaka. You thought Lusaka Dynamo, these players will push them for the title push, but they seem to be 2 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. They're just at the same position. They're not moving forward, Lusaka Dynamos. I think what needs to be done at Lusaka Dynamos is to find the right combination. I think that's where they find it difficult to pair these players, to try and see who fits there, where, and who pairs well with who. I think if they can find the right balance, try and play with a very strong midfield and the striking force which will score goals, and the defense which will be very, very solid and keep clean sheets, they will be a very, very difficult side to play this season.
Those are the games that were played within the course of the week, but let's just take a look at the games that we have for this week, which is week 18, and the games that are being played today. There's an early kickoff game, which I'm sure by now it has already started. That's Ngwazi facing against Lumwana Radiance, which is at Ngoloma Stadium, and it's live. That's on Super Sport. And then we've got the next game, which is being played at 15 hours. That's Red Arrows versus Green Buffaloes. Red Arrows, Augustine, a team that hasn't been off consistent of late, a team that has been donating points. People are now calling it the point donator. I don't know. Do you think they will turn the clock around? Because most of the games that are being played between these two, they always end in a draw.
Yeah, if you look at this has been dubbed as the boring derby between GBFC and Red Arrows Football Club. Men in uniform go head to head at Nkoloma Stadium this afternoon. I think they have both struggled this season, to be honest. Red Arrows and GBFC in familiar territory. Both they are closer to the bottom than to the top. They are nearer to the relegation zone than to those 4 slots for continental football, Green Buffaloes and Red Arrows. And if you look at Red Arrows, if you watch Red Arrows play, they create a lot of chances, but the most undoing part is that they fail to convert. They really fail to convert chances that they create, Red Arrows Football Club. And going into this military affair, there won't be a lot of chances. Red Arrows and GBFC, whenever they meet, it's always a cagey encounter. They don't give away a lot of chances, both teams. It will be very, very tactical. Both teams need this victory more, because as the season progresses, the danger of dropping will keep growing, because at this point now they need to start pushing away as far as possible from the relegation zone, because as you are in that relegation environment, you drop your confidence. Every time you get scored, your heads drop, and the news that receiving is that Red Arrows will be without Joseph Piri, he's out injured. They will be without Felix Bulaya, he's out injured. They will be without Francis Simwanza, he's out injured, and without the influential Mali midfielder Alassane Diarra. So now Red Arrows will look to the bench to try and bring players who haven't been seeing game time to try and win this match for Red Arrows. And from the Green Buffaloes end, Friday Sam was a doubt for this encounter, and we yet to find out whether he will feature or not. But Green Buffaloes has been boosted with the return of Aubrey Chela. He's played the last 5 games and he scored 4 goals. He's very, very good, Aubrey Chela. He's scored 4 goals in a space of 6 games. When other strikers have been struggling to find the back of the net, he's one striker. If GBFC can keep him fit, he will surely push them high up the table and maybe get them close to those continental places. And going into this derby, form is always thrown outside the window. It's all about who wants it the most. Being played at Nkoloma Stadium, Red Arrows have always been favorites whenever they host GBFC and Nkoloma Stadium, and they have won a lot of games. And GBFC haven't been good travelers this season. They haven't yet won a game on the road. But they were very, very impressive over the weekend when they came from 2 goals down to draw with Prison Leopards. And if you remember, in 2004, Red Arrows won the league title at the expense of GBFC, who were second to them. They faced off at Nkoloma Stadium in a Week 29 encounter, where if GBFC had won the game, they would have gone tops. And Red Arrows, if they won the game, they would have been crowned champions. And GBFC took an early lead. They scored inside 6 minutes, and you would have thought now it was going to be difficult, because George Rwandamin and his side, it was George Rwandamin who was the head coach at the time, and Matthew Spee was in the dugout for Red Arrows. But Red Arrows 2004 side has had the character and the anger. You could see they fighting back. They equalized through Kamzatika, who was the captain, and won the league with Sam Gondwe's second goal to come from behind and beat GBFC 2-1. Red Arrows would want to replicate such form going into this afternoon encounter. You remember in 2014, again, Red Arrows and GBFC were in the same situation. Both teams were fighting relegation. So now the question is, what goes wrong at these football clubs? Because 7 years down the line, you cannot find yourselves in the same position. Yeah. Why not Zesco United? Why not Sensational Zanaco? Why Red Arrows and GBFC always finding themselves in this situation? Meaning there is no short-term, medium-term, and long-term planning at these football clubs. That's why we've seen now Red Arrows come up with the academy they have come up with to try and develop their own players, because now you look at Red Arrows and GBFC, they cannot compete with Zesco United and Power Dynamos in the transfer market, because these military sponsored outfits cannot go and buy, for instance, Zakaria Chilongoshe left back at 300,000. They cannot pay that much money for a striker, so they are now struggling because they are not getting the quality players in the transfer market. So what do they need to do? They need to groom young players, go into these compounds, go into these rural areas, scout young talent, bring them into your facility and develop these youngsters and sell them on for the growth of the football club to make profit and move forward as a club. Interesting derby at Nkoloma Stadium. We just hope it will produce goals. The last time they met at Edwin Imboela Stadium, the game ended goalless. We just hope to see goals at Nkoloma Stadium this afternoon.
We also have got games at Prison Leopards, who are hosting Kitwe United, and we've got Indeni versus Zanaco, and we've seen top scorers coming from the Zanaco this season, where we are seeing Moses Piri and Kola being on top of things in terms of scoring. Is Zanaco going to face it hard?
Sensational Zanaco playing Indeni, it's a very, very tricky encounter going in Jundola playing Indeni, because Indeni plays some decent football. David Chilufya had built a very, very strong side. They came at Sunset Stadium in Nukwana and got beat by 2-0, but the result did not reflect the performance of Indeni. Indeni were the better side on the day. They missed a lot of chances you can see the way Graven Chitalo held on to possession and linked up play with the young midfielders who are very, very wasteful in front of goal. They have got a very solid midfielder in Eddie Chipepo. He's very, very good in central midfield. You always think these games will produce a surprise. These are the type of games that we always look at, and I think a surprise might come from this game, because Indeni, a couple of weeks ago, they hosted Forest Rangers, and they were leading by 2-0, but Forest Rangers managed to crawl back and draw the game 2-2. So going into this encounter against the Bankers, who have struggled away from home, they have only managed one win, which was against Kawe Warriors a couple of weeks ago. Apart from that, it's been very, very disappointing for Zanaco on the road. They have drawn and lost games on the road, and going into Ndola, it's not a very good hunting ground at Indeni Sports Complex, where they'll face an Indeni side which is trying to push out of the relegation zone and survive for another season, and a Zanaco side which is looking to win the title. I must say, Sensation Zanaco, I've been very much impressed with Abraham Siankombo, a very young talent coming through their youth system. I think now you can see the trend. Clubs now are looking into their youth system for talent that will try and push them forward. He's very, very live. He's very, very direct. Started against Red Arrows over the weekend. He had a very decent performance. And one warrior in that Zanaco side is Kelvin Kapombo. I think that guy is a true definition of a winner. He's always fighting for Sensation Zanaco. He works hard for the team. He does all the donkey work. He closes down the opposition and breaks down the opposition attack, and he's the kind of player who makes the likes of Moses Piri and Roger Kola thrive, because every time you need someone who will protect you, who will win you back that ball, so that these forward-thinking players may try and play going forward and attack teams. And Kelvin Kapumbu, every time you see him, he's been growing, he's developing every time, and he's really, really a hard worker. He's going to be the difference whether Zanaco to win the league title or not, because he's going to be very, very integral in that central midfield, because he covers that backline very, very well, and does not allow teams to play through their midfield easily.
We've got another encounter, that's Green Eagles, who are up against Kawe Warriors, and it's the last game for today. And looking at other encounters that are there, that's tomorrow the 21st, there's Young Green Eagles, who is facing Power Dynamos. A Power Dynamos that's coming from a disappointing lose against Zesco United and then a draw against Kitwe United. Are they going to face it very hard? Because all the time, Angorapson has always been grading the Young Green Eagles to say they play good football, but they just lack the finishing part.
Yeah, you could see that this Young Green Eagles side lacks a lot of experience. They play some decent football. They have got the likes of Greenwong Witika, they have got the likes of Adamson Mulao. These are seasoned campaigners in the Super League, and the likes of Benson Chengo. But you can see their undoing part is that they lack a little bit of experience. And in the week one, in the reverse fixture at the Davis Stadium, Power Dynamos dominated the first half. They played all the football and eventually scored, but you can see towards the last 20-15 minutes, Green Eagles grew into that game and had decent opportunity to level matters, but due to lack of experience and patience in front of goal, they were a little bit wasteful, and Power Dynamos eventually won that game 1-0. Green Eagles, every time they play, Young Green Eagles, every time they play at home, they're very, very solid. They've managed to beat teams like Zesco United, teams like Green Buffaloes, and they draw with Forest Rangers. Every time when you come from these lower leagues, you try and make your home ground fortress, because if you're going to donate points at home, where are you going to get the points? Because this Super League is very much unforgiving. You need to be solid, watertight, do not give away goals, but capitalize the chances that you get. And this is something which Young Green Eagles needs to work on. They need to get a goal and keep it tight. Shut that back door and don't try and open up yourselves, trying to be very expansive, because most of the teams coming from the lower leagues, they are very much overzealous. They try dominate teams, they try and play free-flowing football, but you don't do that in the Super League if you do not have the personnel. You need to have the right personnel to do that kind of football, because down there in the National League, it's all about dominating teams, ball possession, ball retention. But it's in the Super League is different. We saw Green Eagles, who are the senior team to Young Green Eagles in years gone by. What made them stay up? They were very, very solid. They were a very, very difficult team to break down. We've seen this with Nkwazi. We've seen this with Nakambala Leopards in recent years. Be a very, very compact side. Do not give away easy chances, and try and hit teams on the break and make use of the set pieces that you have. And their left back, Young Green Eagles, is one of the best set piece takers in the league. If they can just use that as their weapon to stay up in the league, let's take advantage of every set play that we have. Let's not give teams easy chances. Let's defend away from our box. I think they will have chance to stay up rather than trying and opening themselves up when they face these big teams.
And then again, the last game that we are having tomorrow, that's the big spender against another big spender, where we are seeing LD facing Beautycon, a game that will be played as well at Ngoloma Stadium, and it will be live on SuperSport. I don't know, have we seen, because we've seen Mini Cooper, just like I like calling him Cooper, he hasn't seen game time yet. Oh, he's seen game time, but we haven't seen his impact. Are we seeing any changes? Are we seeing him to start against the Beautycon side?
I think if you see the way Mini Cooper is being introduced into this Lusaka Dynamo side, it's been gradual. He's been given minutes here and there. He hasn't started from the first whistle. I think it's all about trying to settle him, for him to settle down, for him to acclimatize, and trying to know the players he plays with. Try to understand the philosophy of the football club. It's very, very difficult coming to a club mid-season, because you won't have a lot of time to work on the training ground, because most of these teams in after 3-4 days they play a game, so you do not have a lot of time on the training ground to try and form those partnership and understanding with teammates. But with time, we would see Mini Cooper would settle down into this Lusaka Dynamo side, and if he does, he will be forced to work on with, because once Lusaka Dynamos get it right with Mini Cooper and calling Sikombe, probably any striker who does not score with these two playing behind him, you'll never score with any midfielder, because these are one of the most creative midfielders in the league. If this pair can start playing together with Aubrey Funga, Emmanuel Havasimbi and Marvin Jere, they will have a very, very creative midfield that will create chances, and we hope to see the likes of Derek Bulaya, the young Derek Mansa Bulaya, to keep scoring goals, and he's probably one of those future players like Enoch Sakala, which we look at for the Zambian national soccer team in 2-3 years time. These will come up and dominate Zambian football. Then they have got the likes of Emmanuel Chabula. Then they have got the likes of Adam Zikiu. They have got a rich attacking lineup, Lusaka Dynamos. They just need to get it right and get the much needed points. At the rate where it's moving, Lusaka Dynamos may miss out on continental football if they do not find that consistency, because now this is the second round. Now a lot of teams will wake up. Now teams will get their home territory very, very jealous, because every point now is vital. Every point counts, because it's the final stretch of the season. This is now the second round. Can they turn the tables around? Yes, they can. They have got an experienced coach in Wetson Musindi Sinyerenda. They have got Ian Bakala, who played at the football club and understands the football club the way it's run. So we just hope to see Lusaka Dynamos with their spending in the transfer market to try and see results coming forward.
We've seen there are two postponed games. That's the game between Zesco United versus Napsa Stars and Ghana versus Forest Rangers. And this is due to the CAF Confederation games that they are playing tomorrow. But we've seen, earlier you brought up something to say Power Dynamos has missed out in the top 8. If we can just have a display of the FAS MTN table to see which teams have made it through to the top 8. That's the table, Augustine, and we've seen, like you said earlier, Power Dynamos has missed out on it. But let's look at how the tables have turned for Zesco United, being top of the table with 31 points.
So if you look at this log, Power Dynamos had 2 games in hand, one with Zesco United and the other with Nkana. Power Dynamos were sitting on 21 points, and the last Absa Cup place is occupied by Kawe Warriors with 26 points. So Power Dynamos had to beat Zesco United and Nkana to win that final slot, but they have blown away that chance to qualify for the Absa Cup with being beaten by Zesco United. They will face Nkana in the other game in hand. Whether they win it or not, they will still not qualify for continental for the Absa Cup. Sorry. So the only team who can qualify for Absa Cup is Nkana Football Club. If Nkana win their remaining games in hand, they go above Kawe Warriors and qualify for that final Absa Cup, because the first 5 teams have qualified. We've got Zesco United, Sensational Zanaco, Forest Rangers, Lusaka Dynamos, and
those
Prison
are
Leopards.
confirmed.
Yes, these are confirmed. They have qualified for the Absa Cup. But for that last slot, which Kawe Warriors is occupying, Nkana needs to win all their games for them to qualify for Absa Cup. And I must say, Prison Leopards have been the biggest winners in the first round. Nobody expected Prison Leopards to come out this strong, and they have come out strong, and now they look like they are now challenging for those continental places, which will be a very, very difficult ask for a side like Prison, who have just come from the National League. But if you look at the football that they are playing, they are very, very united. I cannot see any other team which has got that team unity compared to Prison Leopards. And there was a joke which was going around that ever since that incident of the Forest Rangers goalkeeper being in the Green Eagles goalpost, the Prison Leopards goalpost, sorry, they haven't won a match since then. That was their last win against Forest Rangers, and they have since not won a match. But you could see with the acquisition of Jamal from Buildcon, he would add that spark in going forward, because David Obashi has been scoring goals for Prison Leopards with Meite coming from midfield. They have been getting the goals for Prison Leopards. Jamal will add that in that side to try and get goals for the Prison Leopards. Rumors that have been coming out from the camp from the media is that their coach is being linked with a move to Indeni, which will be a very, very big blow, because the job that Mwenyach Pepo has done at Prison Leopards, it has been unbelievable. I think to me his team has probably been the best team in the first round, and he has been the best coach. So if this relationship was to end, I think it will be a disaster for both. So we just wait and see what will happen in the coming weeks.
And before we take a look at the Faz Eden games that are being played, Augustine, what's your take on Power Dynamos acquiring the services of the former Green Eagles goalkeeper who we saw coming back in the Zambian Super League, which was a shock to a lot of people?
Yeah, it was a shocker, because when he moved to Maritzburg United, Sebastian Mwange, we always thought now he's going to be the next goalkeeper who is going to take over from Kennedy Mwene, because to be honest, as a national team, as a country, we've struggled in the goalkeeping department ever since Kennedy Mwene stopped seeing a lot of game action at Mamelodi Sundowns, and eventually not being called up for the senior team. No goalkeeper wants to fill up those gloves. We have struggled in that area. And when Mwange went into the PSL, always thought that's a step up, and if he can play at that level, he will surely come and challenge for the first position at the national team. But he's back now at Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos are probably the richest club when it comes to the goalkeeping department. They have got Jaka Kunta, Rollins Mulenga. Now Mwange, it's very, very good to have 3 top-class goalkeepers competing for that one position. It's healthy for the team. It's healthy for the players to develop, because sometimes Zambian players do not like competition. That's one thing I've noticed. Sometimes you see when they see competition, their form goes down, but it has to motivate them. Those 3 have to pick up their form and challenge for that #1 spot in that Power Dynamos rank. It's very, very good for Power Dynamos, because we've seen a couple of errors from the young Lawrence Mulenga and Jaka Kunta in recent weeks, which has costed Power Dynamo's points. They now have got the experience of Mange, who comes into the side. He has played continental football, he has played in the PSL, and he has played for the national team. So he brings with him a lot of experience to Power Dynamos.
Just a quick one on the games that are being played. That's the first Eden games that are being played. We've got National Assembly versus Livingstone Pirates. We've got Kanzenshi Dynamos versus Gomes. We've got Trident versus Mufulira Wanderers. We've got Kafiwe Celtic versus Police College. And we've got Zesco Malite versus Mpulungu Heber. And we've got City of Lusaka versus Kashikishi Warriors. I always laugh about this team because it's Angorapson's team and it's doing bad. And tomorrow we've got Muza versus Chambeshi. And for today's game, I left out a big game, Augustine, which is Kongola Blades versus Nchanga Rangers. And it will be live on ZNBC TV3. What's your take? Because it's a debut that started on social media.
It's one of the biggest games in Zambian football this weekend, we must say. Probably both in the National League and in the Super League. This is a very, very big encounter. And in recent years, this derby was being played in the Super League, not in the lower leagues, in the National Leagues. But both teams have struggled, they have gone down into the lower leagues, and they face each other in this mouth-watering derby. And one thing that I must say, this game assures us goals. Because Nchanga Rangers, Konkola Blades are the highest scorers in the league, with Konkola Blades scoring 24 goals and Nchanga Rangers have scored 23 goals. But Nchanga Rangers defense, they have conceded 15 goals. Konkola Blades have conceded 10, which is the bad part on Kongola Blade side, because if you are going to challenge for promotion, you need to close that defense and do not give a lot of goals. Because if you see there are other teams that are challenging for promotion, Chambeshi and Kansashi Dynamos, they've only conceded 5 goals during this season, and they have got the meanest defense both in the Super League and in the National League. And if you look at Konkola Blades, they're actually the form team in both the Super League and the National League, because Konkola Blades in the last 6 games, the possible 18 points, they have picked 16 points. They have won 5 and drawn 1, which is very, very good for a side which is chasing promotion. They have got maybe Njonjola Chishimba, veteran of Zambian football, part and parcel of that Konkola Blade side, is there to guide these youngsters on how to go about this derby and how to go about coming back into the Super League. If you look at Nchanga Rangers, they were the change of coaches. They brought in Israel Mwanza who was formerly of Kansanshi Dynamos. He brought Kansanshi Dynamos into the Super League World, and he later on moved to Chambishi Football Club. Now he's at Nchanga. He's got at his disposal the likes of Friday Konga, who was in the Super League with Nakambala Leopards and Napsa Stars, but his form has dipped, but he's found a new home in Chingola, and you could see that he's doing wonders for the team. He's getting them the vital goals. They have got probably one of the most promising youngsters in the Eden League in Kundankandu, who was part of the Zanaco setup, was at Young Zanaco, loaned out to Gomes, and is now at Nchanga. He's someone who has got the potential to be one of the top players in the Zambian Super League and eventually play for the national team Kundankandu. It will be an interesting encounter. Nchanga Rangers also have got the player they acquired from loan from Power Dynamos in Zinda Wabanda. I'm meant to understand he's not part of the team which will be playing Konkola Blades, but he's one player who is a very, very good centre back. He's a ball-playing centre back, and it's going to be an interesting derby because both teams are chasing for promotion, but Konkola Blades are just one win away from being top of the tree, and they're just being separated by goal difference with Kansashi Dynamos. So Konkola Blades may just be too strong for Nchanga Rangers, I must say. But we went and see, because in derby games, like we always say, form is thrown outside the window, and we look forward to this interesting encounter between these two powerhouses of Zambian football.
Let's just look at the table and see on how these both teams are standing in terms of their first Eden League. That's how the table is, Augustine. We've got Kongola Blades sitting in second position, and we've got Nchanga Rangers who are in 6th, separated by, that's about 5 points if I'm not mistaken.
I think if you look at this table, the most disappointing side, the Masia National Assembly, you do not associate National Assembly with relegation in the National League, because National Assembly have always been in the Super League. If you look at Musa, these were teams that were playing in this Super League just recently. And if you look at Kafue Celtic, how they have fallen from the top, I don't know, because they were flying in the first 10 games, Kafue Celtic, but they have just lost their touch. You can see their last 6 games, they have got 1 win, 3 draws, and 2 losses, which is not good when you're a side which is chasing promotion. And talking about Nchanga Rangers, you can see they have only won 2 games in their last 6 games, which is not good as well. And City of Lusaka, probably one of the favorites for promotion. They have got a very, very good sponsorship, a very good stadium, and we would love to see City of Lusaka bounce back into the Super League. From number 1 to number 8, those teams are probably belonging to the Super League, because we've had Mufulia Wanderers, Kawe Youth, Nchanga Rangers, Chambishi, City of Lusaka, Kongola Blades, and Kansanshi. All these teams have played the Super League before, so probably they are chasing for those 4 slots. And Livingstone Pirates and Gomes sit mid-table. Probably these two, it's just about staying up in the league for this season. But if you look at down in the table, Zesco Shockers, I do not think they will stay up. Police College, probably it's time as well. Kansanshi, Kashikishi Warriors are very, very disappointing with Trident. They have been very, very disappointing. I feel they are going to go down. From the teams that are in the relegation zone, I do not think any of those would survive relegation. I think probably the 4 who are in the relegation zone are going to go down, because they do not have enough to stay up in the Eden League.
You know, that was the table concerning the first Eden League, and the previous table that we had was for the Super League. But let's look at something interesting that took place within the course of the weekend. I mean, that's the UEFA Champions League. Augustine, we saw a very shocking result where we saw Barcelona being beaten by PSG, a result that a lot of people never expected, and we saw Neymar and Moise Kean giving the goals to Pochettino and having the Kings of comeback, because I don't know if Barcelona still feels like they will be able to come back from that defeat.
If you remember, Barcelona turned around this result a couple of years ago. They lost at the Parc des Princes by 4-0 and overturned it at Camp Nou, beating PSG by 6-1. The coach by that time was Unai Emery for PSG, but now they have got Mauricio Pochettino, who probably has got a grudge with Barcelona, because he was playing for Espanyol, who are the local rivals to FC Barcelona. And looking at the current Barcelona, I do not think they have got enough to overturn this kind of deficit. And you could see from the way the game had panned out, they got the penalty. Fortunate that it was given. It was probably a 50-50 decision, because
for me that wasn't a penalty.
It was 50-50. Kazawa, yes, had contact with De Jong, but it was, sometimes you see them given and sometimes they're not. And Messi, like he always does, scores from the spot, is always reliable in terms of goals. And you would have thought at that point it was the end of PSG, because Paris Saint-Germain, they've always been playing very well in the French Liga and doing well in the group stage, but whenever they reach these knockout stages, they start struggling. Wherever they meet these sides like Barcelona, Juventus, they always look like they'll struggle. And you would see now Kylian Mbappe, probably one of the best young strikers in the world, scoring a hat-trick against the Barcelona, becoming one of the few players to score a hat-trick against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. Yeah, in the Champions League, you would have, I think Barcelona could have failed to handle the pace of Kylian Mbappe. And when Moise Kean was always sitting on the right, the last defender's shoulders. He made it difficult for the likes of Piqué. I think Barcelona, to be honest, they are no longer the powerhouse of European football or Spanish football. This is not the Barcelona we knew years ago, and you would see Lionel Messi is not looking like the Messi of 3, 4, 5 years ago. He doesn't look like he's interested with what's happening at Barcelona. His head is somewhere else. He's not at Barcelona. He's just wearing that jersey for the sake of royalty. But Ronald Koeman, could it be wrong decision making for letting Luis Suarez go? Those are the indications, because you cannot prefer Luis Suarez over Antoine Griezmann. Antoine Griezmann cannot score goals. I think, to me, it was a very, very wrong move by the board of Barcelona, because I strongly believe the board wanted Griezmann to stay because it was a very, very big investment they had made in the summer to bring Griezmann, but in the first season, he showed that he could not perform, and he has followed that up this season. He just can't perform. Griezmann he always looks like he's not at home at Barcelona, and looking at PSG, they look more of a force than Barcelona. They look very, very united. They kept it tight at the back. They didn't give Barcelona a lot of chances, because once Messi gets 2-3 chances, he'll score from those opportunities. But they made it difficult for them. Marquinhos was very, very impressive, because he was part of that team which threw away a 4-0 lead, and PSG were strong and their favourites to qualify to the quarterfinals.
Let's just look a quick one on the Porto Juventus game. We saw something which I would say very controversial, where Messi or Ronaldo cried for a penalty and the ref just called the game to an end.
I think it was one of the most shocking results, I must say, at the Dragao. Juventus going there, it's always a difficult place to visit Dragao, I must say, and Juventus, you always thought with Ronaldo in the side, they were always going to be favourites going into that encounter, but it wasn't to be, and they got beat by a very, very good Porto side. They played the football, they defended very well. I felt Porto wanted it more than FC Barcelona, Juventus, they looked like they just stand up in the second half. That's when they had realized they were in a Champions League tie and they needed to get something away from the game, and it was a very, very crucial away goal by Federico Chiesa, which would prove to be very vital coming into the second leg in Turin.
Your final remarks, Augustine, as we are getting signs from our director to say we are running out of time.
It's been an interesting show. A big thanks to everyone who tuned in to watch the show, and a big thanks to the entire production team for making it possible. We now look forward to the rest of the weekend and see what football offers us, because there are a couple of interesting encounters. We are going into the derby, Green Buffaloes, Red Arrows, Konkola Blades versus Nchanga Rangers. We want to see what Napsa Stars offer us tomorrow at the Heroes Stadium when they take on Gor Mahia, what Nkana would do in TAS Casablanca, and what will happen in the Premier League. Is Man City, Arsenal. It's very, very interesting, and we just hope for the best for our continental representatives going into tomorrow's encounters.
Just a quick one, we've got games that are being played. That's in the EPL. We've got the first game, that's Southampton versus Chelsea. We've got Burnley versus West Brom, Liverpool versus Everton, and then Fulham versus Sheffield. And just like Augustine said, we've got the big one tomorrow, that's Arsenal against Man City, the unstoppable Man City. But we've come to the end of the show, and I've been your host, Amos, and on behalf of my director, Precious Mzasakaleji, and not forgetting Uncle Fred, I call him Uncle Fred, who is a diehard Ghana fan, as he is blinging already in the Ghana attire. Uncle Fred, we are just hoping for the best in terms of Ghana tomorrow. It's bye-bye. See you next week.